Let's go!
Coming up at a lousy number 10, we have Floating Fuzzy Time Mine in World Flower. There's a fair number of things that make this course difficult, but the most threatening part of the level is easily the moving fuzzy block. As the player climbs up the wall of obstacles in the first half of the course, the block of living fuzzies will slowly follow along the same path near the bottom of the screen. And the worst part about this abomination is if you come into contact with it, it instantly kills you. Just like that. To avoid getting hit by the massive fuzzies, the player will need to platform off these floating water blocks and avoid spike blocks for the majority of the level. Using the floating water mechanic can be sort of finicky at times, especially if you don't have a catsuit to help you climb up the wall when you're out of the water. On top of this, I consider the third green star challenge later in the level to be one of the hardest in the game. To get it, you'll need to collect 8 green coins that are spread over spikes and water blocks and on a tight timer. If you don't have the catsuit at this point in the level, then this green star becomes infinitely more challenging, as there's almost no time to collect all the 8 coins without the timer running out or without the fuzzies catching you from below. This level is just nerve-wracking in general, as there are many areas where you can easily slip up and have to restart the level all over again.
Let's go!
There's not much to say about what makes Spiky Spike Bridge Sneak difficult other than it has a lot of spikes. And I mean a lot of spikes. Cause you know, when a course is literally called Spiky Spike Bridge Sneak, I think it might have some spikes in it, wouldn't you? For the majority of this level, you'll have to platform off spike pads to get to the end, some of which activate in waves and some of which activate when you step onto the spotlights on the paths. Meanwhile, Fire Brothers will be scattered throughout the whole course, throwing fireballs onto the spikes and stone paths in order to trip you up. The second half of this level is way more challenging than the first. As the spike pad bridges become longer in length, the spikes increase in their speed, and the green star collectibles become much harder to obtain. And right near the end of the level, you're faced with what's easily the hardest part: 2 giant moving spike platforms that quickly and constantly activate in waves, forcing the player to jump in a very quick pattern to avoid all of the spikes. It's quite difficult to time the jumps just right, and many times you'll be hit by the first frame of the spike box right as you're about to jump. And it's also fairly easy to fall into the void at this section too, thanks to the wacky depth perception of this part. Overall, Spiky Spike Bridge Sneak is quite a formidable course to beat, and you'll be needing a good amount of experience at this game if you want to be able to take it down without a problem.
Let's go!
So do you like platforming off of floating blocks that disappear and reappear every single second? Well, if you do, then Blast Block Skyway is a perfect course for you, as this whole entire level is based around red and blue blocks going in and out of existence. And I'm not kidding when I say these blocks come and go every single second. They genuinely phase that fast. Blue, then red, then blue, then red. If you think that sounds kinda quick, that's because it is. And while you're trying to platform to this ramped up beat, spikes will be throwing down the rolling spike bars onto the blocks to mess you up. Because the tempo is going so fast in this level, timing your jumps is much harder than normal. The spikes can get extremely deadly later on when you have to climb a staircase of the colored blocks, as the spike bars can easily be on a higher block exactly where you're going to land after jumping. Plus, near the end of the level, you'll have to slide down a ramp of long stretches of the same color swapping blocks. Now, okay, I'm not going to try to play up the difficulty of this part, because it's really not that hard. By just sliding down and jumping to the time of the beat, you can easily get to the bottom without having to go back and forth between the colors. However, at the end of it all, the first part of this level more than makes up for the second half's lack of spiciness. And honestly, this is a course that you'll probably be dying to a lot on your first playthrough. It's pretty dang rough.
Let's go!
Now, this is a level that I don't see people bring up much when they're talking about the hardest in Super Mario 3D World, but I personally find Rainbow Run to be one of the most challenging and frustrating courses in this game. Here, you're put up against an obstacle course of rotating rainbow platforms that are suspended in the air, with skip squeaks running on top of them. Some of these rainbow platforms will rotate horizontally with a laser shockwave in the middle, and others will rotate vertically, sticking out from a wall. Platforming on these vertical rainbow platforms is hands down the most difficult part of this level, as their momentum either with the player or against them can mess up the player's jumps quite a fair amount. And unlike in Super Mario Maker, the skip squeaks will jump at random times instead of always after you jump, meaning if you try to make a leap for their heads, they can easily suddenly jump up and damage you in the air. That's right, even the skip squeaks are a nuisance in this level, who would have thought? As time goes on, these rainbow platforms get significantly thinner and smaller, and the vertically rotating ones become even more fun when rainbow colored rope swings get added to the mix. Now you have to calculate your jumps to the timing of the rope swings, and because these swings go back and forth so gosh dang fast, the timing is very precise. Overall, yes, I think that Rainbow Run is a very hard level, and since it's the first level of World Star, it's definitely a statement of how hard the rest of Super Mario 3D World is going to be from there on out.
Let's go!
Grumblum Inferno, number 6 on our list, is a level that's very well known for its difficulty, and for good reason. For a course that's before all of the harder levels in the special worlds, it is surprisingly annoying and challenging. With Grumblum Inferno, all you need to do to reach the goal is ride a couple of moving blocks called Grumblums over lava. But, of course, there's a catch. The Grumblums can only move by flipping onto their sides, which means that you'll need to run across one while it rotates if you want to stay on top of it. The leading cause of death here will probably be falling off of the Grumblums, as the slightest misjudgment of a jump or sprint can send you straight off of the blocks. And to top it all off, the collectibles here are a pain in the neck to get as well, as a good amount of them are suspended over small platforms next to the Grumblum's path. That means that you'll need to jump off of the Grumblumps and then jump back on them while they keep moving. The stamp in this level is easily the stupidest collectible to get, as it's above a Hammer Brother on a super dinky platform. If you try to go for it, you'll almost certainly take damage from either the Hammer Throne or the body of the Hammer Brother itself. Not to mention that when you get back on the Grumblum after getting the stamp, the other Hammer Brother can easily snipe you with one of their hammers, which is really, really nice. But that's just one portion of this level, as the rest of it is no cakewalk either. In the end, Grumblum Inferno is a doozy of a course, and surprisingly hard to complete.
Let's go!
Did you ever play that Death Wish challenge from a Hat in Time called 10 seconds until self-destruct, where you start the level with only 10 seconds and have to keep picking up these clocks that each add 20 seconds? Well, Faster Fort Fire Brothers is almost exactly like that, with the only differences being that you start with 30 seconds instead of 10, and the pickups you need to get only add 10 seconds instead of 20. And unlike with most other speedrun-like levels in Super Mario 3D World, this timer of 30 seconds is insanely tight. If you aren't picking up every single 10-second clock that you can find, you're going to be screwed at the end of the level, as there is a good stretch in which there's no clocks to collect at all. This level starts out as a gauntlet of Fire Brothers and clear pipes. We will need to memorize where the fires will come from in the pipes in order to collect more time unscathed. As the player moves on through the level, they'll be confronted with rotating fire bars, giant thwomps guarding clear pipes, troops of block steppers, and after all of that, a fight with a Fire Brother jumping in between two Goomba stacks, which is genuinely harder than most other boss fights in this game, all while the timer is quickly draining closer and closer to 0 seconds. What makes the level especially hard is the optional green stars, as they're all intentionally placed out of the way of the main path, forcing you to drain time if you want to collect them. Due to how rushed you have to be in this level, mistakes are much easier to make, and the final fight can be very difficult if you don't have a power-up to deal with the Goomba stacks in a fast way. Faster Fort Fire Brothers is one of the most intense and challenging courses in Super Mario 3D World, and you'll need to be on your feet at all times if you want to be able to get all 3 green stars and take this course down.
Let's go!
Rolling Ride Run is one of those levels in Super Mario 3D World that's really annoying to go through. The course is based around the gimmick of these cylinder platforms on rails that will only move when you get on either side of them, causing them to slowly roll toward either side of the rail. This wouldn't be so much of an issue if rolling these platforms wasn't so janky. When running on the sides to move the rollers, your momentum and movement is affected in a very weird way. I always feel like I'm going too fast or too slow on the sides of the rollers, and what really doesn't help matters is that it's very easy to slip off of them and fall into the void down below. And in the midst of all that, you have to worry about enemies that try to attack you while you're on the rollers, either by running into you themselves or attacking you from the side. And all of that was just the first half of the course, by the way, as the level really starts to show its fangs after the midway checkpoint. Now, you'll be required to run a super long roller across a huge block maze while jumping over blockers and avoiding the conch doors and sting bees that try to chase you down. This part of the level is very tough, as there's so many points where you can underestimate a jump while rolling the platform and either take damage from an enemy or fall off the roller altogether. But what's even worse is the third green star. Oh my gosh, the third green star. To get this collectible, you have to go to a platform that a conch door is sitting on, find a double cherry in an invisible question block, and continue to rotate the platform with 2 of your characters without letting either one of them get hit or fall off. This is the most annoying part of this course by far, and it's so easy for these 2 copies to get out of sync, which instantly kills your chance of getting the green star. Want to kill an enemy that's chasing you down? Nope, can't do that because only one of the copies will jump off of it, completely keeping its momentum and falling into the pit below. Want to correct the movement of one copy while it's about to go off? Well, that'll cause the other copy to completely run off the other side of the roller instead. Whoops! So yeah, this level is kinda hard, in case you haven't noticed. Because of its second half, and especially its third green star, Rolling Ride Run definitely deserves its title as one of the hardest levels in this game.
Let's go!
Cosmic Cannon Cluster is easily the second longest level in Super Mario 3D World, only beaten by Champions Road. Plus, it's very challenging all around. One of the main reasons its difficulty is so high is because of the intensity of the challenges throughout. Here, Cosmic Cannon Cluster takes an underdeveloped gimmick that's barely even used at all in the game, the Cannon Box power-up, and expects you to be an expert with it. This is blatant in how precise these challenges need you to be with the Cannon Box. I mean really, some of the things Nintendo expects you as the player to do in this course are crazy when compared to the rest of the game. They expect you to jump on 3 small cannon bullets mid-air if you don't have a catsuit in order to progress. They expect you to do that without taking damage if you want to get the first green star. They expect you to make multiple precise shots with the cannon head power up while on a constantly moving platform to get half of the collectibles in this course. And to top it all off, they expect you to make 2 super long diagonal shots with the cannon in order to get to the goal while still on a conveyor belt and while a cannon box shoots at you and flying dry bones constantly respawn and hunt you down. It's quite a lot. In terms of difficulty, this level definitely feels more like a castle level than any of the other actual castle courses in this game, as it's actually that hard when compared to the rest of World Star. It's crazy challenging, it's long, it's very frustrating at times, and it has a whole underwater auto-scroll section in the middle. Yeah, because that's also a huge part of this level, and that part is so fun actually, it's very fun. Not. If you aren't that experienced with the cannon box going into this level, you're going to struggle a lot before you beat it, as the crazy shooting and platforming challenges combined with the length and number of hazards makes Cosmic Cannon Cluster very difficult to beat and crazy hard to 100% complete.
Let's go!
Ah yes, Broken Blue Bully Belt. This level is evil. What makes it evil, you might ask? Pretty much everything. Made to be a harder version of Blue Bully Belt from World 7, Broken Blue Bully Belt is just that. It's broken. This level has you jump off of purple platforms that rise in and out of lava, except that they rise up and fall down very quickly, and the jumps you have to make using them are super precise. If you don't have a Tanuki suit for this level, the jumps are going to be a nightmare, as to even make them you'll need to jump at full speed or long jump at the exact edge of the submerging platforms to get to the other platform as it just starts to rise out of the lava. And by the time you've already started to jump toward a platform, many times it'll start sinking while you're still in the air, which, whoops, instantly kills you. And you'll also need to worry about flying dry bones that will hunt you down while you're trying to position yourself to make the precise jumps in order to progress. Oh, and yeah, so all of that was just the first 30 seconds of the level, mind you, as things start getting even more difficult when the course starts throwing rotating spike bars at you while you're still trying to make the extremely long jumps and avoiding flying dry bones. This section is even more excruciating than the first, as the rotating spike bars easily cover up entire platforms, causing some well-timed jumps to hurt or kill the player if they're not also paying close attention to where the spike bars are at. Once you reach the checkpoint, Broken Blue Bully Belt turns into more of a 2D-esque platforming challenge, as the platforms will now retract into the walls instead of sinking into lava. That doesn't make it any more easy, though, as the jumps needed to keep going are very long and precise without any power-ups. And the final stretch of the section combines that gimmick with stone cylinders sticking out of walls with quickly rotating spike bars moving along the surface. If you haven't noticed the similarities yet, most of this level is pretty much just Grumblum Inferno combined with Rainbow Run with the difficulty ramped up by 10. Even with the Tanuki suit, Broken Blue Bully Belt is a very hard course to complete, as the jumps and maneuvers required to get to the end are some of the most precise and difficult to accomplish in Super Mario 3D World. But, of course, this level is nowhere near as challenging as the hardest level in this game. And I mean, come on, y'all already know what the hardest level in Super Mario 3D World is, right? Like, everybody knows what the hardest course in this game is. Like, I don't even feel like I need to talk about it. Y'all know what it is. It's obvious, bro. It's Champions Road. Of course, it's Champions Road. Do I really need to talk about this one? Do I really need to explain to y'all why Champions Road is the hardest course in Super Mario 3D World? No, I really don't think I do. No, in fact, I'd actually really like to take this time to talk about how much I love Champions Road. I mean, I love it so much. I love it. Yeah, no, I'd even give it a round of applause if I could, but I can't because all my limbs and hands and feet are broken from falling into the gosh dang